So we stopped off in class when we were about to start linear perspective and proportion. So for this assignment, you will be required to take notes, either typing them up as we go or writing them down and then sending me a copy of your typed up version or your written version through an email. So you could just take a photo of it and upload it and do that. Okay, so when we're talking about linear perspective and proportion, we are talking about architecture and buildings, um, and then things off in the distance. Okay, so forced perspective photographs. I want you to look at these illusions and ask yourself how these were made possible. I'm sure you've done this before or you've seen this done before, but let's really be critical about why these illusions work. So here is Paris being attacked by a giant. Along with COVID-19, they're having to battle giant human beings crushing their buildings. Um, we all know this isn't true, but how can we tell that this is an optical illusion? What indicates in here to you that the Eiffel Tower is far away and the person is up close? Here, these are my kids when they were little and cute. Now they're not so little and not so cute. But look, I have a giant kid squashing a mini kid. Is this actual or is this an optical illusion? How is this created and how do you know? What is the difference between the foreground and the background? There are lots of things that tell you that this is a forced perspective illusion. So think about it, and then we'll talk about what makes this possible. So if we go back to the giant in Paris, what we know is that the hand is closer to the eye than the Eiffel Tower is. We know this because we can see the fine details in the wrinkles in the hand. We can see that it's much, much larger than the Eiffel Tower. So we know that things that are closer to us, closer to our eye, are going to appear bigger than things that are far away. You can tell this because there are also tiny people in the background and tiny, tiny buildings in the background. Okay, so moving to this, same thing. We see a lot more detail in the large children in the foreground, and when we look at the background, we lose focus, so it's a little bit blurrier. We see less detail. The colors aren't as intense as the color and contrast in the child in the foreground. So those are several things that we know in our brain to tell us that this is an optical illusion, but it's just difficult to articulate. So here we have examples of art from a long time ago. We're talking Middle Ages here, where, let's see, this one is from the East. Where the perspective, they understand perspective, but it wasn't a primary concern of theirs to get accuracy. So everything is forced into the foreground. It looks like the building and the wall and the people are all squished together, forced into the foreground. There's no sense of depth and space. Here we have proportion that is completely off, where they understood that people and buildings and things that are farther away from the eye get smaller, but yet we see here that the tiny people are on the same plane as the large people. So everything again is forced to the foreground, making it seem that there are giant people and small people. What